What's up guys, Ghillie Sniper 300 here, and I'm going to do a real quick philosophy video. Sorry for the cheap camera again. It's all I got here at home. Bad lighting and whatnot. But anyway, I just felt like finally doing this video. I've been thinking about it for quite some time. And wanted to go ahead and throw it out there because it's kind of important, and I like having this discussion in the gun community on YouTube and you know, in other forums and everything too. So what this is concealed carry philosophy. I did a really light philosophy video about the way I prefer to carry, the type of guns that I like to use for concealed carry purposes. This is a little different. This is more philosophy, less hardware, more software kind of thing. There was a video done by Miller USAF that I kind of liked about people getting their, I think the way he put it was getting your hardware before you get your software. Basically, you're going out and you're getting the cool guns and everything before you get the right mindset, before you think everything through. And I used to be kind of in that boat several years ago, where you go buy a gun and throw it in your dresser drawer and you think you're squared away for home defense. I know a lot of people now that do that, and I disagree with that mindset. So that's part of what we're going to talk about, but there's a little more to this. So first of all, what we're talking about here is the purpose of a concealed carry permit. What is the role of a concealed carry permit holder? That's what I'm kind of wanting to talk about. There are some underlying rules to basically anything that I talk about. Whether it's gun videos, gun reviews, gun comparisons, bullet reviews, even our goofy running gun and videos where we're just having fun, trying to learn a little bit, but mostly having fun. That is, it's personal preference. Everything is always personal preference, and everything is always a trade-off. Okay, so those are two of my underlying beliefs that sort of dictate the way I feel about how I go about talking about stuff like this. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel. I've never been in combat. I've never had to use a gun against someone else. I hope I never do. So I have my personal opinions. I have my personal beliefs about it. You, as a concealed carry permit holder, have to make up your own mind. The light was really bugging me, so I turned my head around backwards. You, as a concealed carry permit holder, you have to decide for yourself what your philosophies are, what your purpose is, how you're going to utilize that firearm if you ever need to. What scenarios are you allowed to and not allowed to? It's your job to go learn the laws in your state, your town, your whatever. Get those laws squared away. Learn how you are going to work within those laws to do what you've got to do. Okay, so let's talk about some different scenarios. All right, and this is going to hopefully transition us from my old mindset to the philosophy that I've developed over the last year. And I have to admit that up until I took my concealed carry class, I hadn't really thought it through enough. I've got to admit that. I was the guy that thought you go buy a gun. Now, I didn't think that gave me a badge. I think that concealed carry permit holders sometimes get a bad rap because they do kind of act like that's their belief. I don't think it really is. We don't always do the best job of enunciating what we really think our role is, and so we get kind of a bad rap. That's not the way I felt, but I like to help people. I think it's an important part of life to go help people, to treat each other with respect. I give people money sometimes. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not here to say. But, somebody comes up to me and asks for money. If I've got money on me and I feel like, it's in my head that, hey, it'd be cool to give this guy some money or this girl some money or whatever. I've done that a few times. I'm fortunate. I've been blessed a little bit. I got some cash on me, so I hand it over. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that, it's nice to help somebody fix a flat sometimes. It's nice to help people, give people a little money, buy them some food, whatever the case is. All right? I like to help people. I think that's an important part of life. I think it makes my life better. I think it makes the people around me, their lives better, them happier, which in turn makes me happier again. And then it makes them happier again. It's really a good way to live life. And I think a lot of people who go seek a concealed carry permit kind of feel the same way. Maybe to varying degrees, but they feel the same way. They want to help their fellow man. And that's what it's all about. That's the way I used to think about it. And I still do. It's just a little bit different, okay? Because helping your fellow man in the way we're talking about right now is potentially shooting someone, potentially taking someone's life to save another person's life. That's a very serious subject to talk about, which is what makes this a little bit touchy for some people and a little bit heated in some situations. Okay, so let's talk about that, all right? I want to help my fellow man. I want to protect people. If my wife or my daughter's getting raped, I want somebody to go shoot the person that's doing it or the people that are doing it. If my children are getting dragged to a car, they're getting kidnapped, I want somebody to smoke the fool that's taking them to their car. Okay? Now, on the other hand, if my children don't want to leave the playground and I'm dragging them kicking and screaming to the car, I don't want to get shot. Okay? So herein lies the problem. And here is the reason why a lot of the laws are written the way they are. Okay? You're walking through a park. You see a guy beating another guy with a baseball bat. You pull out your gun, you smoke him. Okay? Is that legal? No. At least not in this state. That is illegal. Now, you could probably run up and say, hey man, you got to stop. Like, you're going to kill this guy. Whatever. If the guy turns and assaults you, then it becomes more of a self-defense situation. If the guy on the ground getting beat is someone you know really well, I don't exactly remember what it is here in this state, but it's like mother, father, brother, sister, children, grandchildren, co-worker, employee, employer, stuff like that. You know, there's a defined group of people who, if you see them getting assaulted, you can then go use deadly force against deadly force. If I remember right, it's worded something like it has to be necessary, has to be justified and necessary for you to use deadly force against that. So, okay, so in those cases, you could actually perhaps shoot the guy. But if you just smoke this guy, all right, what happens if you then hear moaning in the bushes and you go over there and there's a girl laying there coming out of, unconsciousness, black and blue, got a broken arm, whatever, and you find out through this process that the guy getting beat was beating her with the baseball bat, and another guy runs up and grabs the baseball bat and starts beating her. Or beating him, beating that guy. And you just shot the guy who saved the girl. You're the bad guy, okay? Now, we could go through billions of scenarios, okay? That's what a lot of people like to do. They like to throw out scenarios. I'm not trying to use this scenario to bludgeon people with my ideas. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? Another scenario. I'm sitting in a restaurant or store or whatever. A guy comes in, points a gun at the person behind the register, says, give me all your money. Can you smoke that guy? No, not legally. Is he doing something wrong? Yeah. Is he kind of leeching off of society at this point? Yeah. So I'm not going to argue too hard about the morality of shooting this guy, although I don't think it's necessarily moral to just shoot a guy because of that. But legally speaking, you can't do that. Okay, now, if he comes in and he's crazy and he's waving the gun around threatening to kill everybody, I think at that point you're not going to have too much trouble justifying your decision to pull out your gun and shoot this guy. And you're probably going to have some witnesses around that would say, hey, yeah, I'm glad the guy did it. I'm glad, whoever pulled out his gun, his concealed carry gun, and shot this guy because I felt like my life was in danger, and so on and so forth. So, at that point, probably, yeah, you're okay. Okay, so what does all this mean? All right, let me talk about some personal experiences that I've had. Okay, I used to work at a bank. As far as robberies go, our security procedures were you give the robber what they want, no more, no less, up until the point that they ask you to go with them somewhere. That's where you draw the line, but up until that point, you give them what they want. Okay, and you get them out of the establishment. That was it. You stayed calm. You gave them what they wanted. Now, why is that? Okay, that's the same reason why we as concealed carry permit holders are supposed to, only engage in certain situations and only draw our weapons in certain situations. And sometimes those laws seem a little bit tedious and a little bit liberal. I thought that they were liberal laws just to, appease the people against guns when I first started, seeking my permit. But now I think a little bit differently about it. So why is that? It's because, in my opinion, the first and main purpose of a concealed carry permit holder is to keep yourself and everyone around you as safe as possible. Which, to put it another way, is to say your primary purpose as a concealed carry permit holder is to avoid escalating the situation, and if possible, de-escalate the situation. Okay, that's why they try to get a robber out of the bank as fast as possible, as a bank employee or as an institution. That's why you can't just whip out your gun and start shooting. That's why they don't give you a badge. You have to do whatever you can do, and admittedly, it's a snap decision. I've never had to make that decision. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but the closest thing I've ever had to do to a concealed carry type situation was I had to shoot a dog that was chasing, that had been causing harm to my father's livestock and was in the act of chasing livestock, and I shot it. That's really not as hard of a decision to make as pulling a gun in a self-defense situation or in defense of another. Okay, or it wasn't as hard for me. For some people, I guess it would be, and I hope I don't get too much, hate comments for that. But that's the closest thing I've ever had to do to it. So I understand it's a snap decision. You've got to make a real quick decision about what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it, keeping in mind, hopefully, that that you have to try to de-escalate the situation. Okay, there's some other good videos out there. One I want to reference is, I don't know whose it is. I'll try to look it up. Excuse me, I've got kind of a cold, but it was like a Dateline or a Nightline or 60 Minutes kind of a special that somebody posted up, and it's decidedly anti-gun, anti-concealed carry. Okay, and I believe the original video was set up sort of that way as well. I think what the test was kind of biased, and I didn't see the first part, but I saw the second part. And it seemed to be kind of biased to me, and it was obvious that to other gun owners that were making comments there, it was biased against guns and against concealed carry permit holders as well. And what it was, there was a classroom set up, and there's a bunch of people in safety gear, and they would take an experienced shooter and set them in the middle of the classroom with a gun with, paint bullets or whatever. And at some point, a person would walk into the room and attack the teacher. Okay? And I don't know what they had told the person sitting there with the gun to do, but in all cases, these were supposedly experienced shooters, and they would stand up and engage this person who was attacking the teacher. What they didn't know was there was another gunman in the room that would attack them and other innocent people around them. Okay, what the point that they were trying to make was that in most cases, the person who was trying to defend the classroom was getting tunnel vision, was not making good shots on the target, was not taking cover. Okay? They did not notice this shooter over here. In one case, they almost shot an innocent person who was basically diving across in front of them to get I don't know where they were going, maybe making it to the door or something. They almost shot them. They didn't put many shots. I mean, they got the bad guy, kind of a glancing blow on the side, and they got hit all over. Now, there's some caveats to that. The people running the test were highly trained law enforcement personnel, not even just average law enforcement personnel, highly trained law enforcement personnel. And at least the ones that I remember seeing, the people that were defending the classroom were experienced shooters, but at stationary targets, at known distances, at a gun range. What they showed wasn't any drills or anything like that. It was simply shooting at a paper target at a gun range, which is better than nothing, obviously. So that, in conjunction with some other videos, and I highly recommend you go check these videos out. They're on Nice 9mm's channel. One is the Biochemistry of a Gunfight, which is by far my favorite philosophy video about defense and shooting guns and all of that I've ever seen. The other has the same gentleman in it talking. I believe it's called Shot 4 Times by 50 BMG and Lived. Okay, so they talk about some of the things, or he talks about some of the things in those videos that are related. Okay, the tunnel vision. Your vision sweeps down to, I believe he said 6%. You use 60% of your vision normally, And when your adrenaline gets flowing and everything, it shrinks down to 60%. I've witnessed this. I've had a customer in front of me at a previous job, basically yelling at me, cussing me, all this kind of stuff. And I'm frustrated, I'm angry. You get stupider when you're angry, it's a scientific fact. And I hear a sound off to my side, and I look real quick, and I look back, and to this day I have no idea what was going on over there. I think it was one of the other employees walking out, saying something, whatever. I don't know. Like, I looked, I physically saw them with my eyes. It never made it through the thought process in my brain to really register what's going on. That's what happens. That's why, and he talks about it in the biochemistry video, that whenever you're doing quick scans, if you're in a gunfight and you're doing quick scans around you, you're not seeing anything. There's no point in doing scans, especially for the average person, because you're not going to see anything. You're going to see it. It's not going to make it through the thought process in your brain to really register what's going on. So that's kind of the problem with that. Those are some of the things that I saw in that video, the bias video, where they're in the classroom. Some points that I took from that is we've really got to think about this stuff, and we've really got to think about the tunnel vision, the trying to do some fundamental things like taking cover, trying to protect ourselves as much as possible. Because quite frankly, if you don't protect yourself, you're not protecting anybody else. And then making good shots on target. You have to make good shots on target, or it's kind of pointless anyway. To put a target down, you have to bring violence on. You have to bring force and violence of action. I can't. There's another term I'm trying to think of. I just can't think of it. But you have to take that target down as fast as possible. I don't remember what the average gunfight usually lasts, but it's something like 3 seconds from start to finish. A defensive situation kind of thing. That's what I've heard anyway. I don't know if that number is necessarily true or not, but that's kind of what I've heard. So very quick, very violent, and that's sort of, you have to be ready to do that. So what is the purpose of a concealed carry permit holder? Well, I contend that is to de-escalate the situation, or at the very least, avoid escalating it. So if that means getting in your car and leaving, then do it. Okay? Situational awareness, what's going on around you, is far more important than what gun you have, what caliber you're carrying, how much you've trained at shooting, scanning, all this kind of stuff. Situational awareness, total situational awareness is far more important. So, if that means jumping in your car and leaving, cool. If that means hiding, go hide. If that means talking someone down, talk someone down. I know of instances where a gun has had to have been drawn to de-escalate the situation. I've got a friend who drew a gun on somebody one time, never fired a shot. The guy just turned around and took off. So it's common to say that as soon as you draw the gun, the situation has been escalated, and I think in a lot of cases that is very, very, very true. But there are situations, just keep in mind, where you have to draw the gun to de-escalate the situation. And if to de-escalate the situation, you have to draw your gun and shoot somebody with it, then that's what you've got to do. Okay? If that's what you have to do to de-escalate the situation, then do it. Okay? But don't take it lightly. I took it lightly for so long. I took home defense lightly. I took concealed carry lightly for a very long time. And luckily that hasn't bitten me. I don't know if that's the proper way to say that. Luckily I've never had to actually test my philosophies, and I hope I never do. But, I think it bears some consideration to really think about this stuff and to have this conversation. Okay, so in closing, I want to say that this isn't a video of Ghillie Sniper 300 telling everybody how they need to think about concealed carry philosophies and what your purpose is and all that kind of stuff. This is an ongoing discussion. I didn't start this discussion. This discussion has been alive and well for many, many years. Okay, this is my entry into the discussion. Feel free to post comments, post video responses. Let's talk about it so that we can all become better in our mindset and in our preparation for this kind of stuff. And, as always, as long as it's kind of on point and kind of respectful, then I don't care what you think, and disagree with me all you like, because quite frankly, I'm human, and I make a lot of mistakes, and I've been wrong many, many times in the past. So I definitely want to hear some feedback on this subject, and from the community, and I appreciate it, guys. I've been blessed beyond all imagination with the YouTube channel, and I appreciate what everybody's all the support we've gotten, and being a valid member of the community, I guess is how you could say that. So I appreciate it, and in case I don't get a chance to say it before Christmas, Merry Christmas to everybody, and be safe, and happy shooting. Later, guys.